Oh, Philip is a student of mine.
Professor.
Wow, awesome. Awesome.
Hi. Waleed, you've not officially met Stefan before on video, have you? Oh, you did when he was in Iraq.
Yeah, I couldn't really see because I was, remember, I was like in on my way into Erbil airport or something. Like,
Yeah,
so good to meet you again, Valid. Yeah.
you're on mute too. And Waleed Farhana is my mother.
Hi.
But also one of our first sponsors of Borderless in Pakistan, huge supporter, the grounding force, and a big connector to a lot of things that we've been able to accomplish in Pakistan with Borderless. So, and she also has been running an NGO for a long time in various capacities, right? And now you might be the international rep for that. We'll see what happens with that. Um,
Doing a good job on the show.
yes. So we'll just wait a couple more minutes because this is a last minute thing that we tried to organize based on our very, very enthusiastic conversation yesterday. In this
I
moment.
mean, already this number of people is good because it's just, it doesn't have to be more than that for something that's
Yeah, yeah,
very impromptu because it 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 serves as an example of what could happen on a large scale. We've done those before, but not of the nature of this, the intention with this one,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is important. Um,
Philip, are you there as well?
he's probably
I'm
on mute.
here. I'm sorry that I will have my camera off for a little while. I'm just making myself breakfast.
That's okay. We're in different time zones. Good. Um, so let's just wait a couple more minutes. How's the heat in Karachi? I can't hear
Oh,
you.
it's
There
terrible.
doesn't seem to be.
It's terrible. It gets windy at this time. It's about, the normal temperature nowadays is 38 to 40.
Wow.
So, well, but we deal with this. We are so used to it.
Oh, hi, Vani.
Well,
Yes.
Vani's on. Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Vani, you have your you're
Well,
muted, just so you
let's
know.
give everybody a couple minutes. Even we woke up a little late today. Okay. Interestingly, when I sent it to Hatem uncle, because he insisted that I sent it to him, he had logged on yesterday as soon as I sent it, ready to chat. Okay.
Just hold on.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, so there's 7 people already on here,
Hi,
which is
Firuza.
great.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's give everybody a couple minutes. I think it's still early.
Well,
Rahil from Art of Giving wanted to join as well.
oh, it'd be great to see him.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Oh my God. Rahil, I was just mentioning that you were going to try to join, and there you are. I was just saying to
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Thank you for having me
Hi,
today.
Rahil. Hi, Rahil.
Hey, hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm great. So great to see you.
Same
Yeah,
here, man. Same here.
hopefully we'll be there and see you soon.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Yes.
So what's the time at your
Good.
end at the moment?
10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort on a Sunday, Mother's Day. So it's yeah.
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
can say
Here they celebrate.
like we are around 8 hours ahead in life from America.
9.
9 hours ahead in life than America, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're at 7 a.m. now? I mean 7 p.m. there, right? 7 p.m. there?
Yeah, it's 7 p.m. here.
Yeah. 9 hours.
Yeah.
I guess you guys
I
change
know.
time the same way we do or something.
I have no
They don't
idea.
change time. We
There's
change
somebody
time.
else just joined.
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Well, this is already a nice group
Yeah.
for.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having
Hi.
me. I think um,
Welcome. Yes. Happy to have you. We'll just do very quick who we are. And if you are comfortable having your video on, that would be great. If not, that's also fine. We'll allow for everything. And I am recording this, but this is only for internal purposes. This will not be shared. It's just so that we can keep a record of how this might flow in the future. So there's that. Let's give another 1 or 2 minutes. Why don't we do
Is that
that?
okay?
Because I know, yeah.
Okay, I can entertain people. I'm in the Catskills. I just got back from Iraq. I was in Iraq for 2 weeks until about 1 week ago, which was amazing. And I think also just really, I could say this more maybe when more people join, but it really interesting in the context to have been where, in a place that basically had been maybe the biggest war for almost 30 years and to see it being rebuilt, right? But with that memory omnipresent, it was everywhere. Even though they've got money there from oil and they're building new bridges and roads and commerce is active and people are out in the cafes drinking tea at night on the streets of Baghdad and all of that splendor, you can sense the splendor of Baghdad coming back, right? Because it was definitely for thousands of years a splendid, it was maybe the original New York City, right? I mean, Baghdad was splendid, filled with splendor, but you don't have to, you can turn a corner and find blocks that are, especially in Mosul, that are completely blown up like Gaza still, you know? And then I came home and it's 2 days after I came home and this started. So yeah, and now I'm in the beautiful Catskills and spring is popping here. We're at the beginning of, well, kind of now we're sort of fully into spring, new leaves on the trees and flowers budding and
Very nice. So we are in summers at the moment in Karachi.
yeah.
But of course, since Pakistan, I would say carries around 3 or 4 different weathers all together at the same time. So Murray is still very cold, and Karachi we are having summers. In Lahore, I think we are having spring at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karachi's not too different from this, the Baghdadi schedule in a way, but
Okay.
I think it's
it's
summer
more
in Lahore
moist.
as well. I was in Lahore a few days ago, and it's much more hot than Karachi.
Okay.
Lahore is worse because Lahore, it's too dry. The weather is too dry and there is no wind. In Karachi, at least, it's windy in the evening. It doesn't look like as if it was boiling during the day. So we have the
Yeah,
advantage.
we would humbly take this honor of being the best city in Pakistan, Karachi. If
Yeah.
Lahore doesn't want to take it.
No. I go for Karachi. I go for Karachi. Because I
I'll
can't
go for
stand
Lahore.
the heat.
I'll go for Lahore, and I assume Anzal will also go for Lahore.
Yeah, I'm going to Multan end of this month, and it is worse than Lahore and any other place. Oh.
By the way, Karachi and Lahore fight would I would say not equally that intense as Pakistan or India, but still there is a tension between us, right? Especially in the educated class. Which one is better?
And all those
I can't comment much about it because it keeps on going like that. Anyway.
the rain in Lahore is better. Unfortunately, Karachi has become a semi-desert. But I think as far as the city's culture is concerned, after traveling and spending a lot of time in Lahore, I think I have evolved my opinion and I would go for Karachi.
Yeah, we have sea. If you're talking about water, a lot of water we have. Not drinkable though, but still we have a lot of water.
Yeah, we buy the water. We buy the water. There's no gas, electricity, no complaints because we don't have the electricity problem. And we have a solar, thank God. So it helps us a lot with the bill. Otherwise, the bills are a nightmare,
Yeah, I
Anyway,
agree.
but water is a problem. It's just self-created by the cantonment board. So that's it.
Well,
I
it
thought
is
you would say
more.
India.
Anyway,
It was
I'm very
cantonment
open
board,
about
not
it
the
because,
India.
yeah, oh God. They say you give your industry to cantonment board, everything will be fine. Anyway, so
Yeah.
let's go to
Anyway,
Yeah, let's
okay.
get rolling.
Yeah, we're already rolling because, water is the future war. I mean, we're already at war with water. So but water in places like Pakistan and other places, even here, people don't know, where the water comes from and how important water as a resource is. But we're at war with water. And, they'll have to come up with some incredible new technologies and weapons to engage in that warfare. Maybe they already exist.
No, they do,
Okay,
and I'm
yeah.
actually working on one of the innovations through which we are now trying to make drinkable water out of air humidity, especially in Karachi, because we have like 70% air humidity in Karachi, and we can turn that air humidity into drinkable water. So this is
Right.
one project that we are starting now.
Yeah. And
Never
make it
heard
more
about it.
comfortable at the same time.
Correct?
That
Make it more
great.
comfortable at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's Pushpak is here too. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. So
Wow.
if you are comfortable, that's why I wanted to give people some time because we'll have people jumping in and out. So happy Mother's Day to anyone who's celebrating your mothers, my mother, and your partners and your friends and anyone that's really raising children. I think should be celebrated. Anyway, so thank you for being here. We'll see if other people pop in. This is all of you know about borderless, so I don't want to give whole background on borderless to you because you all know and you're all supporters as well. But quickly, borderless is a global movement and media platform uniting voices of people who want to make a better world through, most importantly, creating spaces of belonging and generating content and sharing this widely to understand diverse perspectives and how do we build a collective future that prioritizes oneness of humanity rather than what we have. And as part of that, we have, we work a lot in communities on the ground to engage in conversations and generate content and spread positivity. And this is one of our first sort of experiments in conversation virtually, given the context of where we are, given the context of where things have been in the world, and how much people need a space to share their feelings. And we very consciously didn't say thoughts. It's really feelings because we're feeling a lot of feelings, and often we don't know what to do with them. And one of the reasons for us to do this now is also because we launched this global talent search in Pakistan. Many of you have been part of that. Some of you have known about it, which was about finding voices of youth, artists, thinkers, doers, community organizers, technology folks who are part of making a better world, and whatever making a better world means. And it became a really important launch for Borderless to see how important lifting voices collectively can be and how powerful it is in the moment. So, and some of you already represent that, the folks that are here. So, we and one of the things we are finally producing is a music video and a short video of Dunya Mein Sab Saath Hain, Together Across the World, one of Stefan's songs that we use to launch this talent search, and we're continuing it forward. So this is not about pushing that out, but this is just to give you a background on why it's important, because we've captured and gathered so many powerful voices across Pakistan that want to speak up, not from about divisiveness, and worldwide, not about divisiveness, but how do we come together and how are we part of a bigger world than what we see. So that's what we are. What's what Borderless is doing. And we wanted to create this space. Really, it was inspired by many things, but one very important thing, we had a small team meeting yesterday, and most of that went into just sharing of feelings and very powerful feelings and just listening and of like, generational differences and divides and histories and what the future looks like in this conflict and where things are going. So we just wanted to open up this space. And what I love, I will just say, is that we have quite a variety of perspectives here. I'm very thankful for Philip to be here, Veni, Farhana, Hatim, and we have a generational difference here as well. Not that I'm going to speak up on that, but there is intergenerational diversity here as well. So it would be great to hear everyone's perspective and just have a platform to share our voice. Stefan, before I open it up, do you want to add anything, or Amna?
I mean, Amna, I think maybe you should just go after me is better because you have a, if you don't mind, Amna, because you really have a personal stake in this. I think
Yes.
I will just say that I don't have that much to say. I'm most all of you are Pakistani, and you have a personal stake in this.
And Indian, and here in America,
Indian,
and out south.
and
Yes.
yeah. So this is this is, I can only say that I'm someone that has lived with a personal stake in my family being bombed most of my life, and I know what that means. It's basic for me because I'm half Iraqi and my family is all there. I've lived with that literally every day of my life. It has defined who I am. I have, even before I was old enough to know or to understand, because it takes, you got to be decades old to even comprehend the massive ways that that affects us. And having just returned from Iraq, as I was telling people that were on the call earlier on, just last week I was there, and seeing the resilience and the rebuilding, but also seeing the scars and the RPG holes through buildings and leveled neighborhoods that look like Gaza still in Mosul, right beside perfectly fixed up, amazing new places. Um, I know that my sense, or at least as somebody who's not Pakistani, is also just that knowing that what's happening right now is happening in a context where all of us in the whole world are already maxed out by how much trouble there is in the world, how much death we've seen, climate change, and that we know inherently we know that these things are related, um, and and related to an entire way of living together on the planet that I think most of us know intrinsically is not sustainable anymore. Um, and that's a lot to handle. That's a lot to carry, in addition to the immediacy of what's happening interdynamics with you in this situation. So I just think I look forward to really listening to people. That's mostly what I'm going to do. It's what you're feeling. I think it's a great place to start. It's a great place to just air what's on your mind, because there's lots of wisdom in that you might not even be aware of, just in sharing your feelings. Anyway.
Okay,
Hi, should I go next?
go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, some of the people here are my friends, who have heard me rant already about this. But yeah, I think this stemmed from, well, he's nodding because we had like this entire chat yesterday. But it's more about like being in different countries while a war is going on back home and the feelings that are associated with that. Because I have been based in the UK, and then now I'm traveling to the US, and everyone I know is in Karachi, and everyone I know is in Pakistan. And then also I'm bound to return soon. So it's a lot of feelings about resettling there, but then also being like, oh, is there a future back home? Should I be investing in that? Because I am at that stage where I can choose not to, maybe. should I be worrying about my parents more? Should I just be with them if something goes wrong? So it's a lot of feelings of almost feeling not settled anywhere and just having those combined with the situation going on right now. And it was a lot of that anxiety that I don't really belong in all of these countries, but then also back home, there's this going on, right? And then just being in transit and not being close to anyone. And then also, I think the bigger picture here was that the community I belong to back in UK, a lot of my friends were from the subcontinent, and a lot of them then had very different feelings about this. And obviously, there are ties to nation states, there are ties to nationality and identity, and they have their feelings associated with what's going on, what the media is feeding, a lot of misinformation, perhaps from both sides, but a lot of the nationalistic sparks apply in this situation. And then realizing that a lot of people are digesting this misinformation and spreading it across. Um, and this includes the people who are educated and are in their master's degrees and they've made it out and they know you in the flesh and they're your friends who you call friends. And then you see social media and all these posts that are against you and that are dehumanizing you. And then it's just a lot of feelings about, oh, but I thought we were the generation that were going to not distance ourselves, or we were the generation that was going to come together and prove our parents wrong, or be like, oh, we are one. And then you understand, oh, I mean, I also feel these big feelings. I'm also really hurt. I also want to fall into that easy recipe of being like, yes, this is worth this. This is the binary that exists. And yes, our parents were right. These conversations, you almost want to fall into that. It's just easy at the moment. Um, so yeah, it's been a lot of big feelings, and and I'm flying back to the UK on Monday, and just knowing that I'll see the same people on the streets, and just knowing that I'm involved in that community, and I can't just up and leave has been a challenge. And I think it's a very personal feeling because it's so just individual in this particular instance for me, but it almost felt like a betrayal, and I don't know. I mean, I just didn't expect it from very like-minded people. So yeah, these are my 2 cents.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty profound.
Yeah. And it speaks largely to, what a lot of people have been feeling for a long time, especially as you speak of your generation. Anyone else want to jump in?
Yes, I probably would like to put in a bit of a spicy conspiracy over here, because if you see that how the whole setup was made, that actually resonates a lot with what happened on 7th of October in Israel as well. A sudden
Yeah.
attack, a terrorist attack, a sudden attack in a very highly secured area where there's like 700,000 troops in Kashmir. And then
Yeah.
again, they had like this whole wall built up in Israel, which is like nobody can tone that up. And then right after this incident happens, the whole media starts blaming the other side without any concrete proofs in hand. I mean, our DGISPR also showed proofs that in within 10 minutes in Kashmir, the FIR was lodged that this was a terrorist attack and it was done across the borders. Until now, I mean, so much has happened, but Indians have not been able to actually capture those people who actually did that Pelgam incident, right? So it's more of a media war to cover up the reality and then to do what they want to do, their real agenda. We see this in Israel that they have been repeating 7th October again and again and again and again and again and again. And the same is being done by the Indian media. They are repeating the same incident again, and they are actually trying to justify every move by saying that that happened, so we are doing this, we are doing that, we are doing this, we are doing that. But our side, Pakistani side, and for which I have a lot of respect for army now. They came up with proofs. They came up with relevant evidence that this is what's happening and this is how we are tracking this as well. While India couldn't actually bring any kind of evidence or a proof. It looked more like a like one mind actually controlling this whole conspiracy kind of an agenda across the globe. First being built up at the Israel, and now India was thinking that probably we are like Hamas, which I think they're very much sure that who we are now. But yeah, I think there's a lot of similarity between what happened in Israel and Gaza and what's happening towards India and Pakistan as well. My two cents.
Mm. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Lots to unpack there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of spicy opinions on that. Anzal, you go by Anzal? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Anusha. Thank you, Amna and Stephen, for giving that introduction. Stephen was talking about Iraq. Well, Iraq is a country very close to me. I've been to Iraq a couple of times for, of course, religious purposes. And the war in Iraq, the destruction in Iraq is something which has affected me very closely because, of course, I have some sort of religious and spiritual association to Iraq. I definitely get, the remnants of war, the impact of war in that country is something which we have seen and which you see, which you feel in different parts of the country, actually. Not only in Baghdad, you move towards places where the entire shrines were destroyed, especially in Samra. There's still that valley which you go through in Samra, where you can see the bullets which were fired from when during the war of ISIS. And this is how I also relate to Syria, actually, because I went to Syria right before the civil war. Actually, I was very young, but I still have images of how the city was destroyed and the country was destroyed. So I think number one, the reason I started off with that story is to actually inform that we all have linkages and relationships across national boundaries, and I think that is one of the most important point to make in these times of war. There are there are a lot of opposition. You can and you can have a lot of opinions within my family. I think there are many people in my family who would have a lot of different opinions about Iraq and Iran's involvement in Iraq than me. I do not support Iran's involvement. I do not support the kind of agenda which Iran carries. So, but people in my or people belonging to the Shia community in Pakistan would have a very different opinion about Iran's involvement and their kind of branding of Shia Islam and exporting revolution across the world. I think similar take is on India and Pakistan. Of course, being affected by war and is something which has been a part of Pakistani DNA. We have experienced that. Me belonging to the Shia community have experienced that very closely. Still, the same Pakistani government and the same Pakistani state who did apparently very well against India continues to have a blockade on Parachinar, right? Continues to perpetuate state terrorism against minorities till this very day. Continues to disarm people of their democratic rights across the country. And still, when you are being imposed a war by India, who I have been a big fan of their democracy, the way they have nurtured their democracy, but unfortunately all of that process has been derailed. So what I always get reminded of, so there's a lot of disappointment there also, of course, because when there is such nationalist right-wing hatred coming from the other side, I got reminded of a very famous Urdu writer called Intezar Hussain. He wrote a lot on partition. He was in Pakistan in his last times. He was from India, of course. He writes that his friend from India, said that, Intezar Sahab, why don't you come back to India? He said that I would have, but India has now become Pakistan. And that's unfortunately the summary. India has become Pakistan. There's no difference. We see that religious and nationalist hatred against minorities systematically perpetuated, and labeling the entire country as nationalist. So I find that out of this war, who won, who lost, it's a futile debate, honestly. On one side, I completely get that you really cannot declare the entire country. And when I talk to people across the border, a lot of friends here, I try to explain them that the biggest victim of terrorism is the Pakistani people themselves, right? But there's a lot of retrospection, and this is the kind of narrative which needs to come out, that even if you think that there is terrorism perpetuated in Pakistan, it is not by democratic forces. We have our elections rigged across the board by the same people who have fought a war on our behalf, right? So even if they have won the war, I cannot support them. There is absolutely no reason to support them, to support their perpetual systematic oppression which they occur in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and against minorities. So the thing is that what we really need to find for the larger discussion is some sort of linkages, and the young people coming together at the end of the day, getting across these right-wing nationalist narratives of establishments in our respective countries, and still finding hope for discussion, still finding hope for discussion of all kinds. And just one last point, I think this is a very important point. When India says that Pakistani state has been, harboring terrorists. Sure, they might have been harboring terrorists, but the only difference over here is that Jaish-e-Mohammed, or whatever terrorist groups you call Pakistani off for, all these groups are harbored by undemocratic forces. No national leader in Pakistan was democratically elected across the board. Nawaz Sharif, Bilawal, Benazir, Imran Khan would have gone to the extent of supporting Jaish-e-Mohammed. They are by the undemocratic forces, and the people in India need to recognize that. So help us build democracy. But thanks to Mr. Modi, I think the entire process of democracy has been derailed right on the day. My friend Rahil was telling about some conspiracy theory. Looking back, actually, a lot of conspiracy theory looks absolutely weird, because right on the day when India attacked, 2 days after, the Pakistani Supreme Court, controlled by the Pakistani establishment, announced that the military trial of the civilians is allowed. Right. The entire conversation of that is gone. We are on the verge of another popular leader in Pakistan after Mr. Bhutto being tried by the military court. And we will have no other option, because the entire narrative is gone. Sane voices and critical voices are now victim of nationalist hatred perpetuated across the border. So I think what we really need to do, friends in India, friends in Pakistan, friends in Iraq, to help the people, gain back their critical voices and help them establish democracies in their country, and get out of these nationalist narratives. So yeah, thank you so very much.
Thanks so much. Yeah, Danny, go ahead. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
everyone. Nice to see you too. Hi, everyone. I'm Veni. I'll give a little background about myself to give you an idea of where I'm coming from. So I was born in India, but my family, we moved to Saudi Arabia at some point because we are of a lower caste. And as Saeed was saying, the people, the politicians, the government, how the cultures are sometimes are oppressing minority groups. So we were one of the minority groups. We were, when you read history, like the untouchables, that's the caste that we were. And my parents decided, that that's not the place for us. So that's why we kind of moved all over outside of US. First to Saudi Arabia is where I grew up in. And then we moved to the US. So now I live in the US. But when we lived in Saudi Arabia, it was, you're kind of like isolated from all the politics, because I had friends who were from Pakistan, I had friends who were India, and we were like kids, did not know what was going on with what the traumas that our parents carried from all the previous stuff. So it's like a completely isolated world where you're like, we're friends, there's nothing, there are no conflicts between us. That's how I grew up. And then, we are in the US now. All these things with happening with Gaza, with Pakistan and India, it's all, how do I explain it? It's just very hurtful in terms of I just feel a lot of hurt in terms of how the governments are treating their people. And the common theme I see is there's a separation between politicians have their own, the government politicians have their own motivations and their own goals. They're leading one way, and the media is another separate layer, which is has their own goals, their own motivations, and they're doing one thing. And then at the bottom is people who are being affected by all these things that the politicians are doing, even if they agree or not agree. And yeah, I mean, with Gaza and with India, Pakistan, like I want, something where we are for the people, not really care for the politicians, the military, but like, what can we do for the people is kind of where my feelings are. Yeah, sorry, a little bit of a ramble.
No, thanks so much for sharing that, Minnie. Thank you. Who wants to jump in? Thank you. There's a lot there.
Yeah, okay, so I was just wanted to comment on what Anzal was saying regarding our internal issues of Pakistan, especially about how the establishment works over here. So I belong from a family where I'm a very proud son of an army officer, and then I'm a very proud grandson of an army officer. My granddad fought 1965 and 1971. My father fought 1987 Siachen. He went to UN mission in 1993. He was there in Kargil in 1999. And then in 2003 and 4, 5, he was posted to Wana, Turkham border, Afghanistan. And in most of these areas, I was and my family was there with him on the back end Kent station where all the families are located. And every time he had to go by writing a death letter, a last wish that this is what my last wish is. And I would say that when we talk about our army, so all the way from Sapai, the soldier, till the level of, I would say, a brigadier or even generals also, they're not part of the politics. Something happens when you are right on the top with the 4 stars on your shoulder. And what I would say to Anzal is that we, the educated class, have to fight it in a very, I would say, in a very educated manner. I understand what happened and what Supreme Court did was really wrong, and all those people who are trapped in prison from the last, I would say now 2 years, um, that's bad. What's happening, right? And we need to correct it. But to correct it, I think we first need to correct ourselves. We need to start taking interest in these subjects. As Pakistanis, we have been great doctors, great lawyers, great engineers, but we never wanted to be a politician in our lives. We always wanted to be an army soldier for that matter. But I think now it's time that the educated class should also start taking interest in the politics of Pakistan and start correcting what's going wrong in our society, especially on the minorities end. I completely agree with Anzal on what's going on in Para Chinar. I have lived over there for a good 2 years. I was posted in Landi Kotal in 1998, and Para Chinar was one of the best family resorts for us. It's a miracle over there that water actually goes uphill, not going downhill at Parachinar because there's a dam upstairs or something like that. But yeah, it's something we first need to unite as Pakistanis, and we need to know this thing that our Pakistani forces always will be needing our support. What happens at the 4 star or a 5 star should not be generalized on the overall Pakistani army. That's my only opinion about.
Mm.
I think that's true of probably almost every army, right? It's like it's easy to most people that are until they're in the officers level in any army are coming from an economic background where the decision to join it is often purely like a secure, achievable source of income. And yes, they love their country, but it's kind of goes hand in hand. And most of the time, it's just without a doubt, most of the time, any kind of veteran peace movement or opposition to a war, for example, has ever happened. And they happen in every single army whenever it's very clear that there is some discrepancy between the public will, right, or good. It happens. That's where that voice comes from usually. So, but I don't want to interject, but this is already just such an amazing conversation. Just to because I think it's clear that everybody is it's you can't separate what's happening on such a personal level from what is also happening on the global context. And so for me, everything that Raheel was saying and Vani was saying and Unzil was saying all ring clear simultaneously because they're all part of when you step aside, or let's say when you can hold all of that together, you can see this dynamic that is the same. All of these dynamics actually, whereas they might seem pitted against each other within a country, any of our countries, or any of these wars, as soon as you rise above, which I think our times are calling us to, we can see that all of these competing dynamics also are taking place in Palestine, and in Israel, and in India, and in Pakistan, right, and in the U.S. And we're all frustrated with all of that. I think overall. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, but it's really, really amazing to hear and moving to hear what everyone's saying.
Yeah, go ahead, Anzil. And Isa, welcome. You also, I just want to introduce Isa as well. Isa also offers a diverse perspective from Bangladesh and New York. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hi, Isa. So just very briefly, I mean, I don't think, I am a supporter of a policy where, you just go all out against a very critical component of your state. I completely get the diverse perspectives. I've been a lot in Punjab and Sindh and rural areas. And when I asked those poor coal workers, what do you want to be if you get a chance to study? They said, I want to be an army officer. And I was like, why? He was like, because I get an opportunity to, an exposure and all. So it's definitely not against, when I'm saying that the people in India and Pakistan and the young people need to come across and come together to fight the external and the larger narratives, as Stephen mentioned. I think, how can I, make a comment that, in Pakistan, we need to go out for a civil war or, a revolution. So, of course, understanding those dynamics, understanding those flaws, no matter what historical opinion you have, you can, actually, you can engage, and you should engage in order to find solutions. So that is there, and this and fight against these extremist narratives and groups while recognizing oppression across the board. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to say, and just help connect entire thing, because in the way the things go on, I don't think that there is any prosperity for the global south, because I work in the health sector. There is no prosperity for global south unless the people of India, the people of Pakistan, the people of China, people of Iran and Bangladesh and Nepal and Africa, they unite to fight a solution, to get the funding they deserve. So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, it's very important, right? And part of the reason we're doing this is so that we can very openly and freely talk about this. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? There's a lot before Stefan and I jump in.
I would like to add something about the war. I had witnessed the 65 and 70 war. I was in school. We were in school when this war started, and the Wagah border was only 4 or 5 miles away from our school. And all of a sudden, we heard that India had attacked Pakistan, and everybody goes to school, to home. And I think the war lasted for 17 days. And it was summer, September. We used to sleep outside. In Lahore, it's a culture to sleep outside. We could hear the shelling the whole night. We could see the fire coming out of the cannons. And everything used to tremble when they used to fire. And then the 70 war, that was terrible. We were again in the war. I mean, you could see the dog fight in the air every now and then. And now I'm witnessing the Sachin war. We didn't know much about it, though I visited all those areas. I visited all those areas in the northern area. But unfortunately, you can't go near the border. We were just around the Saskatchewan area. But now we were going. Thankfully, we haven't witnessed this war. These 4 or 5 days. It was pretty tense. And the problem in Pakistan is this: with my experience, that if you want to be a loyal to a country, you have to love your country, own the country. What is happening here is that we don't own Pakistan. Everybody's saying Pakistan is bad. I never say Pakistan is bad. Why should Pakistan be bad? The people who think is bad, they're bad. Pakistan is not bad. You should own your house, you keep it clean. Why can't you keep your country clean from all these, whatever the corruption is going on? If we start owning this country, now what happens unfortunately is people who own it, they're collecting the money, whatever we pay for the taxes is going out of country. They don't want to own the country. If even half of the population in Pakistan, I think we are about how many million we are. So Pakistan is going to be all right. We are a very progressive country. When we were young, we were being taught in the schools about the geographical situation of Pakistan. Pakistan was an agricultural country. Pakistan was the biggest exporter of wheat and cotton in the world. And Pakistan, when Bangladesh was with us, East Pakistan, we were the biggest exporter of jute. What happened to all those things? All those corruption, people start disowning Pakistan. And these added up, and now we've come to, I think this has crossed the limits. Who's going to break it? Somebody wants to break it, goes into the jail. If we come out, we go into the jail. Unfortunately, it's a really bad situation. So even the younger people, they come out. There's nobody who to listen to them. I'm also working with an NGO, and we go around the places. It's really very bad. We go in the slum areas, in Kurangi, in Mirari, in so many other places, in Ibrahim Hadri, Vadal, Baba Island, and all these things are really very bad. So how it is going to be improved? That's $1 million question. That's all I can say about it with my experience. And if they bring religion in it, keep religion aside. That is your own personal views. Don't bring religion. One should not bring the religion in politics either, because that is your own personal belief. You can't comment. You can't, tell people or dictate people to follow this blah blah blah. Whatever they want to do, let them do it. Just improve the country. Bring together. I have been going out with Stephen and Mushe to certain places to teach the children how to bring together, like Stephen at Swami. He works a lot in the IDD school for blind and deaf. The children, if you look at those children, they're amazing. They want to come out with something. They know it better. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of potential, but they are not letting it come out. That's the problem here. How it is going to be done is again $1 million question. So that's all I would like to say.
I think that it's I don't want to say too much, but I can't help but that just again it's like this because this came up in Iraq, but and it's come up so much with just what's happening in Palestine and Israel at the same time. And I think it is, and I've never thought of it so clearly in terms of why borderless for me. and why to have conversations like this is that there's a feeling, I think the feeling of lack of agency globally, and because it's happening in our communities uh, is everywhere. When I was in Iraq just now, sure they have the money to be fixing the place up after being devastated. The country's ruined, right? They destroyed the country, not just a part of it. And but there, but even though there's all this face of new roads and new bridges being built and people back out, nobody feels that they're actually in control of the country anymore. They have a government, but they don't really know. But they know there's all kinds of forces behind the scenes that are actually making decisions and doing things. And so I'm here, and I'm hearing that when I'm listening here is right. How do you affect these conversations? You don't know. From like what Raheel was saying, like will we ever know, was Mossad or somebody else involved in whatever happened that kicked this off? Nobody knows, actually. The point is, and I'm not suggesting that that is the case. I'm suggesting that only that we are in a world right now where we actually can't trust anything we know about these things anymore. I think people feel that way. So how do you actually just transcend all of that, right? To get back to being with each other, to be the people's voice. Anyway, I'm going to stop there, but that's right. I don't feel like I feel like that's true all over the world right now. People kind of sense that despite the popular will, things are happening and we can't stop them, right? We've got the ICC has criminal warrants against people. It doesn't mean anything. We're watching it happen. They're going and speaking to presidents and welcomed in countries.
Mm-hmm.
There's no law. There's no rule of law is what we're realizing and seeing in the world, right?
Can
Yeah.
so I would like to just talk about the religious point of view, right? Like in the sense that we should separate religion and in the war and keep it personal. But I think the one of the issues that I was noticing is that if India named their mission Project Sindoor, okay, so that's associated with first like women, but then also redeeming those women whose husbands have been killed, and then it's obviously a religious sentiment as well, which invokes some sort of obviously feelings in people. But then I think about Pakistan's mission's name as well, which is from the Quran, right? And it kind of does the same thing. But I think what people forgot in this situation is that, oh, they named it really something corny and stupid and dumb and religious, but look at us, we're so superior. We named it from the Quran. And it's not even and I'm practicing, right? I am religious. So for me, I understand why people are like, oh yes, this invoked feeling, but just the lack of critical thought that, hey, this is the same thing. It's being used in the same capacity towards you as well. But you forget that when it's on you, right? And secondly, I kind of get the critique that Pakistan has this larger issue that it Arabizes everything. If you're using a name, then use it in Urdu. Use it for because nobody gets what you're saying. And then everyone has to Google Translate and search it, and they're like, yes, this is inspired and beautiful. But it shouldn't be that. The aam awam, the normal person needs to understand what's being said. So I understand the critique that people have that we've been largely doing this all the time. We rely so much in Persian, we rely so much in Arabizing everything because it's superior, because it's Islamic Republic of Pakistan. But I think there needs to be a certain separation and objectivity in the sense and being like, oh, am I being fed the same slop as the rest? And is this what I'm going to take from the institution or the country or the state? So, yeah, just that.
Yeah. Anzal, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to second Amna. I think it is unfortunate and sad that we have been using religion, um, as part of politics for a long time now, and we continue to do that. Just right 3 days before the Pelgam attack, there was a speech made by one of the highest ranking military officers in Pakistan. And he reiterated the stance that how, we need to tell the people about the two nation theory, how we really need to tell the people how Hindus and Muslims are different. And now all the narrative has come down to people of critical reasoning who have been against two nation theory, who have been against such sort of use of religion in national politics. And everybody is proved wrong because of one incident, of one war. Yes, true. The trauma it has caused is a lot, but that doesn't mean that I think so. At a lot of occasions, we also need to develop the concept of intellectual restraint. We can't let our historical opinion and historical facts being robbed off. And I think as a post-colonial state, because I am nobody to talk about the problems in India. People from India can talk about it. But as a critique and as a reasoning for Pakistan, as a post-colonial state, the worst thing which we did to us ourselves actually was that we didn't even try to repair the vacuum of thought and history which was created after colonialism. India did it to some extent. Now they're just reversing the entire process. But what we did was that till very recently we did not have any higher education institution which could teach us our history back, which would teach us or connect us to our roots. And it is this vacuum of not understanding your history, your roots, as Amna said, which creates such sort of radical narrative. So one just conversation and an anecdote for people. I was having I have a lot of conversations here in London, where I'm currently located as doing my postgraduate. And a lot of people I talk to from India, and because they don't know the language Urdu, and I tell them, oh, you know what, Urdu and Hindi are same languages. I do not face a lot of criticism from them actually, in my very limited circle. But whenever I say this in front of Pakistani people, they just get infuriated like anything. How can you make Urdu and Hindi the same languages, right? Although they have not read a book on history, on the history of language, but they would go on to argue with you for 1 hour. So that is the kind of intellectual robbery which we have done to ourselves and our people. So this mending of relationship within our country would be very difficult unless we just get a hold of historical relations altogether.
Yeah. Isa, did you want to share something?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Isa. Anusha was my professor. I'm not neither from Pakistan nor from India, or I can say I'm actually from both countries because I'm from Bangladesh. it's a most complicated country. I think I always felt when I grew up, like I born long after the war that we had, 1971, and it's funny because I believe that it was our war between East and West Pakistan. And then I saw a lot of movies from Bollywood when I was in my teen. Those are all movies that they are trying to claim that war is their war, which is okay. They helped us. I totally get it. But for last couple of days, while I was talking to my friend from Bangladesh, and they were like, "Oh, there's a whenever something happens in Pakistan or Bangladesh, that always affected us, whether it's actually important or not." And I was involved with politics for a very long time, but I'm still involved, but. And then when they asked me, "What's your opinion about this?" I said, "Well, honestly, I'm very reluctant." Well, like, why you're reluctant? So, I'm very indifferent to uh, post any comments. I definitely don't support it. There is no point of supporting killing people. That's stupid. But I'm also very indifferent and reluctant about this war because these two countries are fighting over Any stupid reason. Oh, you call me something, I'm gonna send some missiles to kill people. And then in my country, whenever start something on those two countries, whereas we are completely three different countries right now, but it became different, and a riot happened, and the majority, those who actually supported Pakistan, it looks like they're very religious. It looks like, for me, because that's why I'm saying, like, whenever you start fighting, that's not very religious from my perspective. That you kill people, how come it's religious? So, but it's but maybe it's religious, it's not spiritual. I have no idea. I'm not a religious person. And then and I remember when I was growing up, and we have two political parties, that ruling political parties. They just banned Aumili, if you guys are familiar with. And I'm very against of this decision, because banning something is a very wrong idea, which Aumili has done previously, and it didn't work well. But and then whatever. So I saw many people, when they support Pakistan, oh, you are traitors, okay. And when they supported India, oh, you are not Muslim. This is kind of like that's what I saw when I was growing up in Bangladesh. And I was like, wow, that's so delusional. Like, you can support Pakistan and you can be a traitor, or you don't have to be a Islamic terrorist or whatever they wanted to say. We call it like a jungi, like in Bangla word. I don't know. I think it's familiar with the in Urdu or Hindi both. And then whenever I remember, my grandmother was she was not a very Pakistan supporter, but she was not definitely India supporter. I remember her because she was one of my very loving person. But I also remember her that whenever they was, oh, your Awili came to power, and then she said, oh, this is gonna be all India now. Uh, so you know what? As a being Bangladeshi guy, like, because we fought for our language. That's the first mandate that we had when we fought with Pakistan. That's the first one, that we do not want to speak Urdu. And Urdu is a lovely language, Hindi is a lovely language, and also as well Bangla. Bangla is my own language. So I understand both, like three of them. Like I understand Bangla 100%. I understand Urdu a lot because my dad is still used to speak Urdu too. But um, it's for me about uh, India and Pakistan, and I have Indian friends, I have Pakistani friends, and they were trying to blame each other sometimes, and they blamed us too for many reasons, or they wanted to condescend us, which is the very common scenario I saw from both Pakistan and Indian part, because I don't know why. And then but what I find out of these three countries, mostly they're so similar. They're like the they are like the three siblings which has no ties at all left. They don't love each other, but they do hate each other exactly the same way. So because we are three siblings, I know when we start fighting, we fight like we are siblings. We are from the same line, but and when we started hating each other, it's just the same thing. And I'm really and I really feel bad for Pakistan and India. It's I wish I could go back to like a maybe before 47, and I might try my best not to make it happen anymore. But it's not gonna be again one, so it's fine. But definitely, I can tell this: these three countries have some serious issues. They have problems with religion. They have problems with their personality clash. They have this ego problem. Like when I met my Indian friends, and they had this tendency, like not Indian friends, I want to say that my Indian friends are really nice, but lots of Indians, And also I met Pakistans, and they get very like when I met a lot of Pakistani, like I went to a conference and I said they get very restrained about themselves. Like when I saw the Bangladesh, I said, well, I'm not here to fight. There is no fight. That was over. That is over. So there is no point of keeping the hate between us. And I saw still my friends are like, oh, I can't mix with Pakistani people. Oh, you don't have to say Pakistani people. You just say Pakistanis, period. You don't have to say Indian people. You don't say Indians. You cannot say, you don't have to say Bangladeshi people. Well, if you say Bangladeshis, it's many Bangladeshi people. Like, it's a very complex character that we have and these three countries has. I don't know how to resolve it, actually. I'm trying to resolve myself. Just not to be like a hate to each other, because where I can see they're very similar, very, very, very similar. They speak the same, just in a different dialect. So yeah, I'm really, really feel bad for Kashmir, of course. When I remember, I was in the protest for like 2-3 days when we were doing it in front of Indian consulate, and a lot of my Army League supporter friends that did not show up because of their standpoint. I said, well, I'm not. That's another thing that I'm saying. You know what? I'm supporters of humanity. So if Pakistan has done something bad to Bangladesh, definitely I did not support it. But it does not mean I will hate every single Pakistanis from their household. Neither. And India has done a lot of. India just killed our border people like whenever they want. I saw a 5 years old girl, and she was, because we are sharing we have shared like three sides of our border, and they were just roaming around, and they just shot like 4, 5, 7 years old. Like, really, what's it gonna do? So I cannot support that either, just because of India. Long time ago, like 50 years ago, they came to help us to but that's a very political discussion that can be that is a complete discussion, like a different discussion that can be their agenda. I don't want to talk about it, but I definitely feel bad and heavy. It's like back of my mind, though I don't want to think about it, because that two country, I don't belong to them. But definitely my sense of humanity is always bothering me. And it's like, whether I want to talk about it or not. I did talk about it yesterday with my family. They were like, "Oh, you know what?" I said, "Yeah, I know. I'm just not talking about it." And yeah, I know. I'm just whatever my conversation was with now here, it's mostly like a thinking out loud. It was all in my brain. I'm just trying to deliver it, because I think this is the platform that Anusha has created, that you just talk about what you think. Yeah, thank you for you guys' time.
Thank you, Isa. Lots to unpack there. Pushpak is there too. Hi.
Hi. For some reason, I can't see myself on the screen, but
We can
hello
see
to
you.
everyone who can. Yeah, awesome. So thank you so much for hosting this space. Regarding the war that happened, that is still happening, I would say, and that has been happening since the inception of this country. Um, I'm a lawyer. I practice in Pakistan, so I have, from a legal standpoint, I have few observations that I think we really need to start thinking about very critically, especially the entire control of social media and how it was utilized to spread lies and misinformation. So there were a lot of cybersecurity concerns. As you all, a lot of people pointed out, the Karachi port, apparently they said that was destroyed, and then later on, on the Twitter account, the Karachi port has announced that as well. That created a lot of fear. We received so many calls. A lot of my neighbors, my family members from all over the world started calling if we are okay. So that was an again deliberate attempt using these tactics of social media to and cyber attacks to create this sort of fear, which was absolutely untrue. So my urge and my mission would be to, and advocacy moving forward would be to strengthen our cybersecurity systems. Yes, we did recover the account of Karachi port, how very quickly. So that also shows that we have really high level equipments and machinery to do that. Um, all, that is also because so much of the entire budget that goes to the armed forces and the defense. So I'm happy at least that money is well spent, that investment is well spent, which shows that we have good machinery. But then again, it's very alarming what can achieve um, through these cyber attacks and lack of boundaries around that. Um, I mean, it's quite, I don't know. I just we're working on borderless, uh, and but I do advocate for borders in the cyberspace. I think because it attacks the national sovereignty. And at the same time, what I'm more concerned about is on ground level, it creates a lot of fear, and perhaps I think that was the sentiment that perhaps the government of India wanted to invoke in our people. And generally, as Pakistanis and also as people from India, we are really reactive and very emotional people. So it's very easy for us to for people to generate that emotion within us as well. So that's one thing from the legal standpoint. Secondly, I think everybody has been overstating, the entire international legal community as well, that the international law has to be upheld. As I think Stephen mentioned about the warrants against Netanyahu, and generally ICC has been doing, and creating space for hearing these cases as well before these courts. But then again, we know our daddy is the United States. I think we really need to perhaps work on how we are going to strengthen ourselves as a state, so that we can at least be, I mean, that's a wish, that's a dream. Um, at least be as powerful as China. Our neighbors have done quite well. Even India has the guts to do all of that. I mean, to copy the entire playbook of the US and Israel and other powerful countries. Whatever they did with the war, it was actually a playbook that has been followed by all the countries, the powerful ones. Um, I think India did a bad job with implementing that. I think there were most of the attempts were resulted in lack of a better word, mockery. And I'm saying that because a lot of international media was actually reporting on the fake news. So, as I think that DGISPR was constantly saying as well in his briefings, that they really have to at least make their fake news seem a bit realistic. Uh, um, I mean, obviously, there's no humor in this, but at the same time, you can find a lot of it there. So I'm just saying that so again, coming back to what I'm saying, that the law is a very powerful tool, and I think the regulatory mechanisms in the right places at the right time would really help us uh, um, perhaps become powerful. And to an extent, we have shown to the world the way we have responded to this entire situation. There was a lot of grace involved. Um, but at the same time, that goes to show Pakistani people's either numbness to their own situation, that they really can't do anything about the social and economic, you can say, lack of mercy on themselves by the state. So they are either numb about it, or generally, I think we derive a lot of our strength from religion and spirituality. Maybe that is something that gives us the strength to continue. And there's something in us that always invokes some sort of patriotism, and we want to really advocate for our country. We have great people, um, and I remember speaking to Stefan also, and a lot of people from America, and generally constantly reminding me that Pakistan has beautiful human beings. And I think that's one of the reasons why we all were united on social media. Really were, our critical thought was somehow comparative to our our Indian counterparts was very much alike. So kudos to that. So there are a lot of things that came about. Um, Two of the things I mentioned were legal standpoint, and then again, Ansel is not here, but I do echo his point of view on the fact that we need to strengthen our inner systems, and people also really need to call out the establishment on a lot of things that it has been doing. And if I can take one more minute, Anusha, I know people have to leave.
Sure. Yes.
Just just wanted to say that uh, it does make me sad about a lot of things that establishment has been doing. And we do really need to come up with a strategy moving forward to find a way to either work together. I'm not promoting authoritarianism, but I do want a solution for Pakistanis, because this establishment versus the people war, I cannot see a clear winner in that. So we really need to work on the society and the economy, because I think there is a huge crisis there. If resolved, or if we go towards a solution, um, then that would increase just generally our happiness. Because on ground level, we all can see, and Anusha, you've come here a couple of times, and obviously you know how the conditions in Karachi, with the 20 million people population, and we don't have the right education, or the right employment, or generally employment, or anything to eat. So I don't want people to be complacent, and I would very much encourage conversations, respectful disagreements, um, uh, and engagements in a way. Yeah.
Well, I um I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me? Pushpak, that
Mm-hmm.
was really, really wonderful to have, just because very different angle, and one that really helped to, I think, put such a different angle that it kind of helped to frame all these different comments that people have said in a way that it ties them together. Because for me, I think this gets at sort of, we have a dynamic because where, like I was saying before, the and you're getting at, in terms of the sense of trust between people and their government and governance, and the sense of whether or not the agency that we have actually has an impact. There's been all this talk of, oh, people need agency for the past 15 years. It became this big thing, agency, agency, agency. Well, now, okay, maybe they don't have agency, maybe they do. There are ways that we've devised, or organizations and systems put in place to supposedly give agency, but 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 now we don't even have the trust, though, that agency actually does anything or means anything. How do we? And then what is the relationship? And that makes me, and which has everything to do with the simultaneous need for strengthening, let's say, national sovereignty, while it on for I think, even in a borderless world, where then within those nations, though, you can strengthen the voice of the people who all feel that we really are one humanity. They're not against each other, these things. They're different. It's actually trying to create the process by which, let's say, the global humanity, or kind of majority of us that I do believe exists, that wants us to live and knows we have to live differently with each other, simply scientifically, for the survival of the planet and humankind, right? Um, and yet at the same time, then for that voice to have a place within our national conversations through actually trusting some process of governance, that it actually is impacting our sovereign nations to then help the whole of all of our nations together reach this that better state. And that's, I think, for me, is just really made this conversation for me has really made clear, because we have a team developing the platform for borderless, so that a small little impromptu, less than 12 hours, like, hey, let's have a conversation like this, might be able to start taking place on a platform that has hundreds of thousands of people on it, across the world. But so it's just very inspiring. And yeah, I want to leave it there.
Yeah.
Pretty.
Before we wrap up, would anybody like to share anything else? Philip, I know you've been very generously listening, and so I want to give you a space to jump in and say if you want to, but no pressure.
I mean, I'll jump in just at least to say hello. My name is Phil, and I am just trying to like listen a little bit more than I speak today. Mostly because I've been kind of like living under a rock for the last couple of years. So, I don't know, like I kind of like have, I think the thing that I attach most closely to is what, I'm sorry, was it Stefan or Stefan? I want to make sure.
Stefan.
Stefan, thank you. But what Stefan said about like kind of like feeling immobilized, I've just kind of been like frozen and processing as I listen to everybody share, because I'm in a, I don't know. I actually don't think I have it in me right now. So thank you. But I'm really grateful to
Yeah.
be here, and I would like to be a part of these conversations again.
Great, thanks. Anyone else want to jump in and before we wrap up? This has been really fantastic.
Yeah,
No,
I'm definitely
yeah,
moved. I'm
yeah.
moved, and I have a million
I
things on my
think
mind from this conversation.
yeah, and I think everyone, thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you for being vulnerable and open and honest. I think we need more of that. That is not cultivated and curated by agendas or perspectives that want to control, but rather than really build towards something that is for the betterment of all within our capacities. And I think that's really, really important, and that comes out here in so many ways. Uh, um, and from the idea of the sense of loss, sense of being frozen, to use Phil's word, but and what Vinny was talking about, or how Amna started the conversation, and the sense of belongingness in multiple spaces and not just one space, because we don't just belong in one space. We all belong in, and for those of us, who were here and present, we all represent how we are part of so many different spaces, and doing things, and just speaking and talking also is a way of action, and it goes undervalued, that it's not just about getting out and like, hey, we're going to, change something today. It's actually just speaking up and sharing your feelings, and mindsets. It also allows for so much, and being able to hear different perspectives like we did today. So we're very, very thankful. I'm very thankful. We would like to continue these um, as often as we can, and open them up. Stefan and I were just separately texting each other, that open them up also with other groups that we've known, that might represent more of what's been going on with Ukraine and Russia, in Congo, in South Africa, with Palestine and Israel, in the United States. There's you know, all these spaces that need to that we can tap into, and then bring them together, and learn from each other, as I'm sure we did here today. So thank you. I don't want to say anything else, but thank you so much, and we will continue this moving forward.
I would love, can I'd like to just also say thank you, because I I actually think I would love to have more conversations like this. And I'd like to have conversations like this that involve, you know, people here that are dealing with this and deal, you know, my that are whatever, from Iraq, from Palestine, from Israel, from here also, because I feel like there's a weight of the similarity kind of that we're experiencing. Those of us who are, I think we're very much a global generation. Our communications tools have made us that. I just, it's great to have the conversation. Would like to have more.
Thank you. Yes. Okay.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Okay,
Bye.
Go
thank
out
you
into
very
the
much,
world.
We need
Thanks
to.
so
Go out
much,
into the world
everyone.
and make a
We were
difference.
we were gonna end with a song, but we decided we should just end.
Yes, let's.
What
To
song were
keep
you
it
going to
uplifting.
end with?
Okay.
Phil. Well, Stefan is actually going to be coming to our class this week, so you'll get
Oh,
to.
exciting.
It's going to be performance. It's going to be a performance, so you'll get to hear all the songs that we might
I
sing.
have to go because I have a crew. Anusha, it's up to you if you want to. Like, you could show the thing from Badine. It is very
Yeah,
powerful because
that's fine.
it
I'll
shows the image,
restrict.
but you can also just share the link and people can see it
Yeah, I
themselves.
can share the
You
link.
know,
But we'll see it in class
I
anyway,
gotta
Phil,
go.
this week.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mom, for being here
Bye.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Good luck.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks,
Next
Isa.
Bye. Bye.
week.
Of
Bye.
course.
Nice
Thanks.
meeting you
Bye.
all.
Ciao. Ciao.
I hope we can have more generational, intergenerational conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, we did already today because everybody represents different things. Okay,
Should we
I'm just
remove
going to stay on.
the recording?
Yeah.